The Pixel People Pod. Steps on top, it's on. Rewind the future fraud. The Pixel People Pod.
Whoa! Thanks for that, Michael. Blew our eardrums out here with that. So, yes, welcome to the Pixel People Pod. I'm Greg. Say hello, Jen.
Hello, Jan.
Chris.
Who's bad?
Exactly. Hopefully not this podcast.
No, it's going to be a thriller, I
Yeah.
promise.
Yes, it is. This podcast is invincible. Ain't that
It's
one of
just our human nature.
And
It's because we have a bunch of PYTs on here.
I like
Exactly.
I like to thank our number one fan that messaged me today, Dirty Diana. I think she's a fan. I don't know.
Was she want to be starting something?
Yeah, and I told her to beat it.
Because that girl is mine.
I told her to, the girl. Okay, I know this. So as you can figure out, this week's episode is on the King of Pop, Michael Jackson. We'll delve into that here in a minute, but before that, we have, as always, Jan's Gnarly News.
Here we go. Jan's Gnarly News. Jan's Gnarly News.
Hey, if you want to start something, beat it, because Jan's giving us the news. Hit us with that news, Jan.
All right, your April 27th, 1980-something, Jan's Gnarly News. April 27th, 1982, Prince recorded his famous Raspberry Beret in Los Angeles. We all know that song went on to reach number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100
How only
chart.
reached number 2?
I thought it'd be a number one.
That's a great song. How did that only go number 2?
What did you say? No, that should be a number one. That's a number one hit. That's a
what-
great song.
What the crap, man? I mean, even looking at some later on coming down the pike, a couple of Michael Jackson songs, especially on the Thriller album, it's like, how is those not number ones? But whatever, we'll get to it.
All right. Born April 27th, 1983, Corey Harrison.
Is that the guy from Pawn Stars?
Yes.
I can't believe I know that.
Hey, you know what? That's funny. You know that, but real quick, talking about that whole kind of reality stuff. That Corey Harrison, that whole Rick Harrison and the whole Pawn Stars guys.
Yeah.
They're some days I like them, some days I don't. They're kind
Yeah,
of
I'm the same way.
They're-
I had some friends that I DJ'd their wedding, and they had their honeymoon in Vegas, and they brought me back a Chumley signed mug, and
oh nice.
I had it in my office for years, and then later on, I was like, does anybody like this show anymore?
Did they go to his candy store? Because when I went to Vegas, we went to the pawn shop, and it's nothing like you see
Yeah,
on
they
TV.
say it's tiny, right?
Yeah, it's small, and then they have like this whole city of containers, like these you see on ships, but they make build. And Chumley has a candy store that's like 2 of those containers combined together.
Yeah, Jan's talked about that's where she wants us to go on one of our anniversaries to see
Jan did not.
Yeah.
Chumley stuff.
Yeah.
We got that one. I can't believe that's the name I got out of the ones.
I
You
knew
always
one of
ask
you guys
about-
would get that one.
Okay.
April 27th, 1983, the movie Love Letters was released. Do you guys remember that
What?
one?
No.
It starred Jamie Lee Curtis and James Keach.
Huh. James
Is
Stacy
that
Keach?
is that Stacy Keach's son?
I think that's isn't Stacy Keach James Stacy Keach?
Well,
Oh, I
let's
don't know.
find out.
I just know.
I've saw him in so many Cheech and Chong
That's all
movies. I'm
Stacey's
pretty
mom.
sure he's listed as James Stacy Keach.
Oh, really?
But
Well,
we'll see if I'm wrong or not. We got to crack
it's
research.
definitely great acting if she's in a romantic relationship with him.
Okay, it's not Stacy Keach, and it's a different guy. Huh? That's wild. I guess my mom was playing tricks on me.
He's
as
the
a-
younger brother of Stacy Keach.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
This Hollywood, just the nepotism capital of the world.
And the son of actor Stacy Keach Sr.
Oh, okay. Huh. I didn't know Stacy Keach was a junior, but his brother,
Yeah.
James Keach's brother, Stacy Keach, is the best Keach. So
All right, listen, we're not going to take it.
yeah. Okay.
That was released
Yeah.
April 27th, 1984
Ooh,
by Twisted Sister.
that was a song I loved as a kid, and I played the crap out of it, and I played the crap out of that tape. But over the years, that song and I Want to Rock were never played. Every other song on it, I loved.
I got tired of those songs.
Yeah, that's got a great video for it though. It's
Which
got-
one?
We're not going to take it.
Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
both of them, that one and I Want to Rock, and they
Well,
both
I
have the
think
guy
about it.
from Animal House. You know,
I Want
He's
to
the
Rock
dad in
is
it, right?
Road Trip, and it's so great in Road Trip where they're riding across country
yeah,
in the school bus they had stolen.
Oh,
and they
yeah,
were dancing
yeah.
to that song. That's a great scene.
yeah. He was just in the news, by the way. I saw today where Dee Snider was grappling about tribute bands, saying
Oh
they were
yeah, I saw that too.
said they were garbage and a waste
garbage.
of time and they're no talent and they don't create anything. But I'm like, come on, man, don't be that grumpy old man. Because
Yeah,
you
he's
know,
trying to stay relevant.
yeah. Every time one of those tribute bands goes up and plays one of his songs, he gets, I guarantee you, spins, on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff on that song and gets royalties. So he needs to be glad that somebody's out there keeping that music alive.
April 27th, 1986 was the last day of Disney Channel's Sneak a Peek weekend. No, it's not what you're thinking, Greg.
The Sneak a Peek Weekend channel is the one that was always blurred out.
This was a weekend that introduced families to the Disney channels.
Oh, it's like the DirecTV would always have the free HBO weekend where you could catch up on tons of
Right.
movies trying
This
to get
was
you
their
to buy.
version of that.
Huh.
Sneak a Peek
So
weekend.
maybe they started that then. That was the greatest times when I had DirecTV for like 25 years. That was the greatest times you find out it was like a free weekend for all the movies. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I can just catch up on all these movies I've not seen, And especially if
Yeah.
you had a DVR, you could like record a whole crap ton of movies and save them on there, and it'd be like the movie channel. There'd be some movie you record at the movie channel sitting in your DVR for 9 months because you hadn't went and watched it yet.
I do the same thing.
Yep.
Which also turns out to be a double-edged sword when you get grandkids and you have those movies recorded and they want to watch them
Over and over
and
again.
over and over.
Well, maybe
Well-
don't record bad movies, Jan.
Hey,
No,
it don't
They
even
want-
matter
they want
anymore
bad
because I've watched Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, at least 30-something times in the last 3 months.
He
and
has.
it's the same scenes over and over again because JC comes in here and is like, Mama watch Chipmunks. And I put it on, and then she's like, Mom, I want to watch some music. Because at the beginning where they're playing music and Dave gets hurt, she wants to start it over every time and watch that. We watched the first 20
have
minutes.
you ever made it through the whole movie with her?
No. We watched the first 20 minutes, then she gets bored and goes away. And then, like, the next day, she'll be over here, Mama watch Chipmunks, and go back, start. Okay. So, yeah, I've seen enough of those Chipmunks movies.
You know the David Cross that's in that?
Yeah.
Did you hear him tell the story about how bad they treated him?
Yeah, I meant to tell Jan about that last night.
Yeah.
That last one, Chipwreck, the one that I got her
Yeah.
watching
Is
last
this
night.
a recent revelation?
Yeah, he talked it in a podcast.
That he would never work with those people
the
again.
Chipwrecked one was the third one, and that's the one I've got her watching now. He was filming something else, and he was contractually obliged to do 3 of those movies. So they're making that movie. It's like, come on over here. We need you. Give up what you're doing now, because you have to. So he had to go over and film that movie for them, and he said they treated him like crap and all that stuff. He said he would.
Yeah.
He wasn't in the 4th one. He said, I'll never do anything involved with those people ever again.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. On April 27th, 1986, the United States Navy divers found the fully intact but heavily damaged, almost fully intact, but heavily damaged crew compartment of the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Yep.
The bodies of all 7 astronauts were still inside.
Yep. If you want to hear more about that, people, go back about 7, 8 episodes, and we did a.
Was that on our Over the Top episode?
It was
Yeah, go back and listen to Over Top. We talk about that, people.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Over the Top is on Prime right now. You can watch it on Prime.
Yeah,
I
there
saw
you go,
that.
people. Not Tubi, Prime.
Prime.
By the way, we did get like 2 or 3 more listens this week on that one.
I'd like to think
Nice.
that we are the reason they put it on Prime.
Yeah, it's like
We
wow.
are.
We stirred up so much talk about it
Yeah.
that they were like,
Oh.
we have to put this on Prime.
And then you can, I'll let the cat out of the bag. We have a surprise guest coming up. Sylvester Stallone's going to thank us
Yep.
for that. But y'all have to tune in. We
Yeah.
don't know which episode he's going to show up on
Yeah.
yet, but he's coming.
By the
He's
way,
going to personally thank us.
the other day I was looking at that on YouTube, and I was thinking, I'm gonna go in here and put like $5 on a promotion on this one, and just pay for the YouTube promotions to see if they'll throw it in the thing and get any more, because it just annoys me that it's.
Released April 27th, 1987, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers album, Let Me Up, I've Had Enough.
Nice.
That's what I say to Greg every
We
night.
just did a podcast on Tom Petty. So, nice. Yeah.
Let me up, I've had enough.
Oh,
That's the title of your sex tape.
All right.
the let
That-
me up part's right, because if. Never mind. So.
Oh, goodness. This album had the single Jammin' Me, which hit number 1.
Yeah, that's a good song. That's one that had to grow on me, though. I wasn't always a fan of that song. Am I the only one?
What was the name of the song again?
Jamming Me.
You're jamming
like
me.
You're
Jan, your
jamming
wife,
me. You know, I'll
or
cut that out.
jam?
Jamming. Jamming.
Like peanut butter and jam.
Yeah.
Jamming. I'd be
Yeah.
jamming, man. I got you.
Yeah.
That is not how it sounded on
That
that
song,
album.
yeah, I can say it had to grow on me. It
You're
was
jamming me.
good song though.
Yeah.
Is that the only big song off that one?
Yes. All right. Born April 27th, 1988, Lizzo.
Oh,
The
singer?
powerhouse singer, rapper, songwriter,
Yeah.
and let's not forget, flutist.
Flautist.
She's no Ron Burgundy.
Yeah. She's also a weight loss example. So she's
Sure,
lost a
I'm
lot
gonna
of weight
tell you-
recently.
We have a podcast coming up
Yep.
soon
Yep.
on cereal.
Yep.
And she put out this whole thing of her kind of this Lizzo cereal, which was just like her putting like fruit and like ice cubes and some other crap. I mean, I was just like, this is a joke. It was like
Wait a minute.
nothing.
You saying that
Cereal.
she takes like cereal and dumps fruit and ice cubes in it and says that's her style
No,
of cereal?
she made like her own. She did a whole thing like a Lizzo, and I stopped watching. I can't remember the details. I'll know by the time we have our podcast.
Well, how do you put ice cubes in it though? How does that work?
Well, instead of milk, she used ice
Oh.
cubes or water or something like that. I mean, it was disgusting. I'm a very particular when it comes to cereal.
On a side note, that's how my grandmother used to have to eat her cereal because they couldn't afford milk.
Yeah.
She ate her cereal with water.
We know Jan. She worked 70 hours a week in the field and going to school.
I'm
and
not joking. She really
didn't
have,
did.
but
Yeah,
like,
she's not
they
joking.
had
I
no
wish I was
bottled
joking.
water.
Yeah.
They still have an outhouse. We
the-
got it, Jan. We
in
got it.
The
reality-
outhouse is still
Yeah.
standing, by the way.
Yeah. The only thing properly, as we learned from a past movie we reviewed, the only thing you're allowed to use in cereal besides milk is beer if you're in the Tri-Lambs and you're watching the Delta Pi cameras you rigged in their dorm room.
Yep.
So there you go.
All right, moving on. Released April 27th, 1988. Poison's Open Up and Say Ah. That was their
That's-
second studio album.
Yeah, I started
studio
saying,
album.
in their first one, look what the cat dragged in. Yeah.
Nothing.
man.
It had 4 hit songs. Nothing But a Good Time, Fallen Angel, Your Mama Don't Dance, and their only number 1 single was Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Wait a minute, what's the name of that album?
Open Up and Say Ah.
Okay.
That
What's the one
album
with their
peaked
4
at number
faces on it?
2 on the U.S. Billboard 200.
What's the one with their 4 faces on it? Is that it? No, that's Look What the Cat Dragged In. That was the one that I remember everybody wondering if they were women or men in the band from the cover. That one seems like that would be their biggest album though with those songs.
Yeah.
So I wasn't into Poison in the 90s. I mean in the 80s. It was like the 90s before I really got. I think the
Really?
song that hooked
Oh,
me on.
I had
Okay, I
this.
take
I
that
had
back.
every Poison
I
album.
take that back. I didn't have their albums until I had the one with the Unskinny Bop on it because I used to cruise it in my Volkswagen. That was like 89, 90. That was when they were fading out. But yeah, Unskinny Bop was a great. So it had that bass line at the beginning of it sounded good on my stereo.
I'm sure it did.
That's a group that I've never seen live.
Oh, I
And
did. Back in the 80s.
They talked about going to. They were talking about touring again, maybe next year or whatever. That's one I want to go see. I think they would be a great.
Listen,
I think they'd be a great.
If they're
band.
not
seen them-
fighting.
I've seen them 4 times from the 90s through 2015, and those guys bring it every song. And when they did that tour the other year, the stadium tour with Def Leppard, and Motley
Def
Crue, and all
Leppard.
those, they blew Def Leppard, and Motley Crue off the stage every night. It was documented. as-
Everybody blows Motley Crue off the stage.
Yeah, but they even blew Def Leppard off. Everybody was like, the best band on that tour, hands down, was Poison.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, they'll tour next year, and we'll do a podcast.
We'll do a
episode from the
live.
parking lot.
We'll do
yeah.
a backstage one,
Yeah.
or interviewing the guys.
Hey, we can set up in a parking lot if it's at Blockbuster, well, whatever it is now, and
You're
interview
old,
people.
dude.
Come by,
It's
say,
true life.
"Hey, tell
Yeah.
us about your Poison experience for our podcast."
Oh man, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we could do that. We would get some interest. We're going to do that. We're playing that right now,
We should-
people.
Some
we
of it
should
may
do
have to
that
be
with one of the
censored.
local groups here.
Yeah,
The ones here in Newton, when they do the local stuff,
yeah,
we should do one there.
yeah.
All right, what's our next one?
I don't know. I did see that Slaughter announced they're coming back in October, but so,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There you have Jan's Gnarly News.
All right, Jan, thanks for that news. It was just as gnarly as always. Well done. So here we go to the topic. And this is me saying this before we get involved in this. We are talking about the legendary Michael Jackson. The legendary Michael Jackson from our childhood in the 70s through the 80s. And that's it. Michael Jackson of the 90s, his music and whatever stuff he did in the 90s, we're not talking about this when we're talking about the 80s Michael Jackson. So that's our disclaimer. Here we go. Okay, right off the bat, come on. We're all rock fans here, but all three of us are Michael Jackson fans. Everybody was in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, a lot of his songs were rocking.
yeah. I mean, you know, Beat
Beat
It.
It,
I mean,
of
yeah,
course.
yeah. But I mean, he just took over. I mean, I'd imagine him to us was what our parents' generation saw when Elvis came
Elvis,
out.
yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would compare it to Elvis.
yeah,
I think about that too because, as you know, when this podcast airs, his new movie's already come out.
yeah.
And I was just thinking about like my mom grew up like the fainting spells, the
Oh yeah,
just the sight of him, like guys. I mean, there are dudes that like regular guys, like hardcore gangsters that love Michael Jackson. Like he walked into a room, people were just like, "Oh my God, that's Michael Jackson." I mean, the Beatles had the same kind of effect. It's certain people out there that have lived a charmed life, so to speak, and that guy was definitely that one.
you know besides that movie, I mean, just the whole stuff of his childhood coming up, and his dad was just a jerk, and how he forced all his kids into that and stuff, and then Michael's the one who made it out. And hit it big, and he was a talented little kid, man. You watch that Jackson 5 stuff, and that little kid owned that stage. His brothers were just background musicians because that kid owned that, And our granddaughter Jessa, she got into Michael Jackson when she's probably like 4 or 5 years old.
I think she was 4.
And I mean, we bought her his #1 CD, and she listened. That's all she ever wanted to listen to.
She knew every song.
I bet you
at
for
4.
2 years she listened to all my. So we took her to see a Michael Jackson tribute act in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, one summer, and this guy's really good too. He was really good, and she was like 6 years old and standing there, and you'd hear 2-3 beats of a song, and she would name that song, and it was like, wow.
Or he did costume changes in between songs.
Yeah,
If he came out wearing a certain costume, she knew which song he was going to
yeah,
play.
yeah. She just was so into it, and it was funny to see that little girl just like mesmerized by this impersonator. But it's the closest she's ever gonna get to see him. But she saw him that night and was like, and then she grew out of it. But now she's starting to listen to it a little bit more back again. I got her a Jackson 5 CD, but she had nothing to do with that. Yeah, I remember as a kid. Well, let's right off the bat. Let me just bring it up that he was born August 29th, 1958. He was the youngest member of the Jackson 5. They all got signed in 1968 to Motown, so he was 10 years old when they got signed to Motown. And they were the first group to have their first 4 singles, including I Want You Back and ABC, to reach the Billboard Hot 100, which comes in later on. We'll bring it up. But yeah, he was like, right off the bat, like the star of that band. And I guess if you got a little kid that can sing, you're always going to be the star, because it's going to be a nice gimmick. But there wasn't no gimmick with him. He was talented.
He was very talented.
Yeah. When he started to break away from the Jackson 5 and started to go solo, he started working. This is a guy, when I say that, like the other week, I said that when I think of Tom Petty, I think of 2 guys, him and Mike Campbell. You can't say Michael Jackson and all his music success without saying Quincy Jones. Because Quincy Jones is, Michael couldn't play an instrument. And there's videos out there. Look up sometime on YouTube, look, Michael Jackson writing a song. Because he couldn't play an instrument, but he could tell you what he could hear in his head by singing it. And like beatboxing and telling you, this is where this goes, and this is the melody and this, and he would sing it in his head, and then they would take that and put music to it. It was pretty wild to see that. He could hear it in his head, but he couldn't play it on an instrument.
Yeah.
So but
That's
it was
the same thing with Barry Gordy, the founder of Motown, was so instrumental in the Jackson 5 era before the Quincy Jones era.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, you think of Barry Gordy and what he brought to the world by bringing the Jackson 5 to the world, and then Quincy got a hold of him as a solo artist.
Oh yeah.
It's just amazing how much talent one person could have. Like we talk about Prince and how he could play every instrument, and he had all this musical genius and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Michael had a separate kind of musical genius.
Yeah, it was a different kind of genius, but it was genius nonetheless.
It was also in his choreography. And
Yeah, yeah. He was a showman, for sure. When he got away from that, like you say, and got to Quincy Jones, he put out Off the Wall, which is, we'll go ahead and get into
It was
this
a great album.
Yeah, that was the one. That was 79, and we're 80s podcast, but we consider 75 to 80 on our stuff, 75 to 90. When Off the Wall came out, that's what, as a kid, I remember seeing the Jackson 5 on TV and blah, blah, blah. But when Off the Wall hit, I was 7, but I had my own radio, listening to stuff.
See, I don't remember any of that.
See, I remember all
the
that.
70s.
I remember all that Off the Wall stuff because that was what got me into Michael Jackson.
Do you remember it, Chris?
Yeah, I remember Off the Wall. Absolutely. I remember what I was just thinking while you were talking about that was on Off the Wall, the song. Let me see. Let me get the song list picked up real quick. Make sure I'm telling the right song. Rock With You.
Yeah.
That song. I would stop at on the way to school. I would stop at a gas station and I would go get a Fanta Orange, which I still drink now. But I would get that and I would call in on the payphone to the radio station. I think it was 107.9 and request at least once a week for them to play Off the Wall.
Well, that WBCY.
I don't remember.
If it's 107.9, it's WBCY, and I'm pretty sure.
That's what it, yeah, and I would request Off the Wall, and I'd be riding to school, and they'd be like, "Hey, Chris, here's a request for Off the Wall," and I'd be like, "Yes."
So,
and I was a teenager. I was driving. This was me at 16 years old. So this was after that. I was. So it wasn't. I mean, it was just amazing. Like that music just carried over. Like I was listening, getting ready for the podcast, and I just listened to I listened to Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, and I also listened to the other ones. But I listened to like 5 of his CDs in a row, and I was just like, Lord, how good of music we had growing up. This is unreal.
I remember when that Off the Wall hit, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. He sang in this, sort of falsetto voice in it, a lot of it. And it was, I remember this as a kid. It was something I never heard that kind of music before. Because I was listening to like 95.7 and WBC and 107.9 WBCY here. You hear this, it's like, whoa, this is a whole different sound. And so that album, Off the Wall, it sold estimates like 30 to 40 million worldwide now. A lot of this came after he passed away. He sold a ton of records after he passed away. But that album had Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Rock With You, which is a great song, Off the Wall, She's Out of My Life, and Girlfriend. So that was the album that started him along the way, And like I say, that was, he was blowing up. But then we got to get 3 years later, he drops Thriller. And, I was doing a write-up thing. I was getting some stuff for this, and I was reading some stuff on it, and somebody had labeled it, said if Off the Wall made Michael Jackson a star, Thriller made him a deity. And that's pretty much right as far as music goes. He was a star, but when Thriller hit, nobody was ever touching that guy.
No. I put up some stats from the RIAA, and one of the stats that blew me away was this was 1984, right?
Yeah.
This we're talking about 84. So it had achieved 20 million copies sold in less than 2 years after its release. So you think about that, how many it sold then compared to how easy. See, that's the thing I don't think people get. The people who listen to our podcast, they get it because they lived it. But those who didn't live it, who were trying to, expand that audience to kind of introduce them to the 80s stuff, they don't understand how hard it was to sell that many albums.
Oh, yeah.
Back then.
You could go platinum. You could put a hit song out and hit platinum back then, but you had to work hard to get multiple. You might get 2 million off a good album, and he's like, man, y'all are set now, but the amount he sold off that record is like, nobody's touching this.
Yeah. If you get platinum, you're like, you're a success. Or it used to be. Now it's probably with streams and all that other stuff, it's not the same anymore, I don't think. But
I think that Thriller, I think I remember it's like 40-something million in America sold, but worldwide it's sitting at around 70 million now.
Yeah, in some estimates, if you include the way they acknowledge the streaming and the way they calculate that stuff, it's like over 100 million.
That's the only thing that, as much as I love my streaming, and a lot of people hate it, but I love everything about streaming because I have my entire record collection in the cloud that I can play at any point in time. But the only thing that I don't like about streaming is this ruin the charts, because I used to love looking up the charts and see, you listen to the top 40, Casey Kasem top 40, and the charts would be off record sales and radio plays, and you knew immediately what was the big song. And now, thanks to streams, you don't really know what an album sold because I paid $25 a month for a family premium Spotify. They don't. I listen to tons of different music. We all listen to that. It's not like we ran out and bought it, so you don't really know how many really sold, or so it's kind of hard to. I know they're trying to put a metric out now as far as the streaming numbers versus stat, but I don't think they've mastered it yet. But one day maybe it'll be legit. But Jan, tell us the singles that were on that Thriller album. Yeah.
7 of the 9 songs were in the top 10.
Yeah. Think about that.
7 of the 9 songs.
When we talk about an album, when we talked about Def Leppard, how they had a lot of hits, they don't think they didn't have 7.
No. That was the record for the most top 10 hits from a single album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see how many Grammy? Go ahead. Sorry, I'm sure you're gonna cover it. Sorry.
Number 1 was "The Girl Is Mine." That hit number 2. Well, I'll quit saying number 1, number 2. The first single, let's say that.
Yeah.
The first single, "The Girl Is Mine," hit number 2. Billie Jean hit number 1. Beat It, number 5. Wanna Be Starting Something hit number 5.
That's my favorite song on the album.
Really?
Really?
Well, mine's Beat It because of Eddie Van Halen, but
Yeah, mine too. Human Nature hit number 7. PYT, Pretty Young Thing, hit number 10.
That's one of my favorites too. PYT.
And Thriller hit number 4.
Yeah, Thriller. The craziest thing to me when you was telling me that stuff was that Beat It only hit number 5 because in my head, Thriller, but I remember to me in my head, Beat It and Billie Jean were like the 2 big huge summer songs, but Beat It never got that high. It got to number 5.
Number 5.
That shocked me. And what really shocked me was when Jan was telling me those stats was that he only had 1 number 1 out of those. Mm-hmm. He only had 1 number 1 hit song on that album, and look how many albums that sold. That is a sign of a strong album overall. When you can only have 1 number 1 song, and it still churned and churned and churned and kept selling and kept selling and kept selling.
The song I listened to yesterday, "Baby Be Mine," that's on there.
Yeah,
I forgot how good a song that was.
Yeah.
I was like, and I went yesterday, and then I went I have it on my streaming stuff, but I actually went and physically bought the vinyl yesterday. So he's at 70 million and 1.
Yeah.
But
I have it somewhere. I have the original one that I got in the 80s. And I think I might have gave it to Paul, our friend Paul, that was going to be here tonight, but he couldn't make it. We'll have him on another Michael Jackson episode. But I used to I'm pretty sure I gave him that record in the 90s because he was such a big fan, and I, wasn't into records then. But I remember, I asked for that for Christmas that year. So
yeah, I'm sure I got it for Christmas too.
A lot of people did. Jan, you said Beat It's your favorite on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What would be your second one if you had to pick? Somebody says pick 2 songs off this for us to play.
It's got to be Thriller.
Yeah, I guess. But that PYT is such an underrated song to me, though. I think that's the one that when I listened to it on Spotify and stuff, I remember on the album that was one that really hooked me, and I would listen to a lot. And back in the day, people don't. Vinyl's making a big comeback now, but if you liked a song and you heard it on your record, you had to walk over, pick up the needle, and gently put it back to listen to the song over again. You can't just click back and listen to it again.
And it was nice, and we liked it.
Yeah. So. So yeah, Thriller. You can't. You could just a whole episode on Thriller, but which we might one day. But a couple other things about that during the Thriller time. The Motown 25 special in 1983 is where he busted out the moonwalk. He performed Billie Jean and debuted the moonwalk, a moment that shocked the nation. And yeah, that was come on, that thing. I can still see that in my head. Him doing that across the stage, going, "Oh my God!" Because back then, everybody. You were watching these shows on TV. You only had 3 channels. If it was the Motown 25, everybody was watching it. And I'm sure I watched that live because I've seen it a gazillion times and just how's he doing that? I don't think I could do it now. It's not, anybody could probably learn it, but
I could never do it back in the day, and I tried multiple times. It was just it was like that whole Motown 25. You think about that, and just how many people after seeing that the next day at school or the week or 2 later was trying to do that.
Oh yeah,
at school it just when I saw something when I was doing the research was he is the second most famous person in history behind Jesus Christ. They said that in 99% of the world, his name or his image is recognizable. And that was these remote islands that didn't have whatever. they knew who Michael Jackson was. I mean, he was the most
Yeah.
famous, second most famous person ever behind Jesus Christ.
I could,
it's
I could probably see that. I mean, I don't, now I don't. Well, I don't know if worldwide. I don't
Yeah.
know. People know who Taylor Swift is. There's some other
she can't.
blonde woman.
She can't.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
a look and a style.
But that's what they're saying. Like if somebody made a comment that if Michael Jackson and Michael Jordan walked into a room at the same time, nobody would recognize Michael Jordan because Michael Jackson is so much bigger. I
Yeah,
mean, there's
yeah.
nobody bigger in our lifetime or in somebody else has said in 300 years from now, people are going to still know who Michael Jackson is.
Who in
Well,
our-
a lot of it was, I mean, he was so iconic in the way he dressed, with his hat and his different outfits,
His
like his red jacket,
Sequin glove.
his
Yeah.
glove.
And
yeah.
then down the line, his plastic surgeries made him, like his looks were a big part of that image.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think though. Who did any three of us can think right now? Who's a name right now that's as big or somebody since Michael Jackson that got big enough where they can compete on that level? Is like they would probably
There's
be known
not.
worldwide.
There's nobody. I
Yeah,
can't
because
imagine.
as big as Prince was, he was big here in America, and then probably a little bit of world, but nobody really know. Yeah, I don't think there's a name. I mean, as big as Taylor Swift is, who's outsold I'm sure broken many of his records, nobody would know her.
But the thing is, though, let's talk about her for a second. She's not in the same level because she's a streaming artist.
Yeah,
She sold streams. She's not. You don't have. I mean, she didn't go out, and people aren't going and buying CDs or albums or stuff, cassette tapes, VHS, 8-tracks,
yeah.
like everybody bought for him. She's popular because of we're in an internet age where everybody's popular.
Yeah, that's
Michael
helped a lot.
Jackson
Yeah.
did this before he was the internet. I mean, he did this before anybody had the access to that stuff. He was Michael Jackson. I mean, he's on a level of his own.
And then we had the moment in '84 where we all went, "Oh my gosh, is Michael?
The Pepsi commercial.
Yes, is he dead? Is he dying? Is he messed up for life?" We all just held our breath, thinking
Yeah, I thought
the
you was,
worst.
Yeah, I thought you was gonna bring it up with you. The 14-minute Thriller video when because here's zombie Michael Jackson. So yeah,
No,
I mean,
I
that-
just
Yeah.
remember how scared I was when
yeah,
the news hit and then the videos hit of him being burned and in the making of that commercial.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson is credited with getting black artists onto MTV because they didn't really put black artists on MTV in heavy rotation. And there's we'll go over the movie later, but there's a scene in the movie. The manager and him walk into the head of CBS Records or Epic, I don't remember which record, whatever, and said, "Put us on MTV." And he's like, "They don't do it." And then that guy threatened to pull every artist that they had off of MTV. And the guy said, "All right, put Michael Jackson on here. Billie Jean, I think, is the one he put on there.
Yeah.
Put it on there in heavy rotation." And from then on, it was just the rest is history.
So I was talking about the Thriller video though. The thing I read up on it was how it revolutionized the video. It made where you could turn those videos and music videos into promotional clips and turn them into cinematic events. So
Mini movies.
There's
yeah,
no November Rain without
Yeah.
Thriller.
Yeah. And the legacy on that record is, besides it being the best selling album of all time, and I don't know if this has been broken then, I didn't look this up, but it won a record 8 Grammy Awards that night.
That's still a record from what I
okay, yeah,
saw.
8, yeah.
In
That's
one
a lot
night.
of
He didn't
Grammys.
have the most Grammys of all time, but he has the most Grammys in one night.
Yeah.
And
That's
it
a
could
lot
have
for
been-
one record.
Yeah, I'm thinking back. I read the research I saw could be a little outdated. I think the one that came the closest, I think it won 7
Yeah.
that night, was the Santana album that he put out that won like
Oh yeah,
7
they had
that
all the
year.
different singers on it.
Yeah. I think it won 7. I could be wrong on that. That would be the only thing I think that got.
That
close
would be
to
a
it,
that
but-
would be a crime if that album had broke Michael's record. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, that was a good album too,
Yeah,
but
but
nothing's
It's not
Thriller.
Thriller. So we'll move on from that album. So you have your album after following up a monster album like that is always going to be considered a failure. Just like the Def Leppard Hysteria album we talked about doing Diamond and churning out all them hits. Pyromania came out next. It had 3 or 4 big hits on it, but only probably sold 4 or 5 million records. And they're like, this is a letdown. Thriller being like, massive record, you think like you can't follow that up. But he put out Bad. And, I forgot about how good that record was until, Jan, you were going to hits off of it. So, Jan, tell us the hits off the Bad album.
All right. All of these were number one.
Yeah, number ones. It's not like Beat It going to 5. These are all number one.
Number one. I Just Can't Stop Loving You.
Great song.
Also hitting number one, Bad.
Yep. That's a good song.
The Way You Make Me Feel.
That's a great song.
Man in the Mirror.
That video for that is
Yeah.
awesome. I love
Yeah.
that video.
See, Man in the Mirror.
Man in the Mirror.
Yeah, that's a great song too.
And my favorite from this album, Dirty Diana.
Yeah.
It also had 2 songs that reached number 7. Another Part of Me reached number 7, and Smooth Criminal reached number 7.
The Smooth Criminal, which is a huge song now, wasn't even one of his number ones.
That was an amazing. That music video. It was. Thriller was great. It was something. But I think that video, Smooth Criminal, was greater than Thriller. I just is an amazing video.
Jan, what didn't it set some kind of record?
He was the first person to get 5 number 1 singles from one album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he followed that up with that. So he was a juggernaut. It's like this isn't a one-hit wonder. Although Off the Wall had hits, it wasn't a one-hit wonder. But look at AC/DC. Okay, they had Back in Black, which is like the second highest selling record of all time now. Their next album was sold like 2 million copies. It's not. Which is a hit, but it's not like, you can't come up with another Back in Black. He kind of came up with another Thriller because that album, Bad, sold worldwide estimates around 50 million now. So, that's crazy.
Well, the thing too, and I meant to mention it a second ago, and it ties in with this, is that he was upset because he didn't get the tour for Thriller. They went straight into the Jackson Victory Tour.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Chris.
The dad kind of, I don't know the best way of saying it, but the dad kind of made him feel like he didn't love his family if he didn't go on tour with his brothers.
Well,
so manipulated him. That's what I'm trying to say. He manipulated him into going, and they were in Los Angeles, and then Michael was like, "Okay, I'll show you, Joe."
Yeah.
And then announced, "We're done.
Yeah,
that's it. Thank you." And Joe's like, "What?" And it's like he was so upset because he wanted to do a major tour for Thriller but couldn't do it. So then Bad got to go, and he got to do the tour for Bad.
There is one thing you left out on that though. That Jackson Victory Tour, which you remember Pepsi put out I've got the can here. I kept my can from the 80s. That's how much I loved Michael Jackson back then. I have the can of the Jackson Victory Tour, Pepsi can, and I've kept it for 40-something years now. That tour started as the Jackson Victory Tour, but if you look it up, he went a couple shows, and then it was all of a sudden they finished it with 90% his solo songs with the Jackson 5 backing him up. It was like the first couple shows was like, here's our Jackson 5 songs with 1 or 2 of his solo songs, and then it was like, nah, this ain't working. And he kind of stuck it to his dad that way. He said, no, we're going to finish this tour with basically y'all backing me up as a solo act.
And it was a shady tour when Don King was involved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his dad, lost control of him right after that because it's like,
his dad lost control of him years before too.
So you talked about that. Like you say, the Bad World Tour was his first solo world tour. It spanned 16 months, and at that time was the highest grossing and most attended concert of the 80s. So,
I would have loved to go into that.
Yeah,
but I didn't do concerts back then. So.
But here's something I saw too about this that's kind of sad about it. This era marked a significant change in his physical appearance and the beginning of the intense media scrutiny that would follow him for the rest of his life, as far as his plastic surgery and how all of a sudden he started changing his look. And yeah, it was, it's just, what a run, man. That's 79 to 87 is, if you count those, if you counted the 70 million for Thriller worldwide, 50 for Bad, and then Off the Wall about 30 to 40. I mean, you're looking at 150 million albums sold on a 3-year,
Unbelievable.
less than a 10-year span of putting those out. It's been over 40, 50 years now, but almost, but still, that's insane. And you'll never have that again. Like I say,
no.
Like we said, Taylor Swift, she's the biggest thing in the world, but it's not this level. It's just not.
No,
it is here in America. I will say that here in America, the I see the kids, and you hear it, you see it. There is a fanaticism about that the kids have, and girls and women have for Taylor Swift that is sort of like that Michael Jackson craze, but it's only here in America. It's not
Yeah,
like worldwide.
absolutely.
So
If you were to, if okay, we'll take Taylor Swift to her peak right now,
Yeah.
but she's the biggest in the world. And if it was like, okay, same dates, same whatever, Michael Jackson is touring. Michael Jackson to this day would still dwarf her.
oh yeah,
Yes.
Because, I mean,
Hands
he's,
down.
he's not, she's not even, and she's used because she's the most popular thing going right now, but she can't
Yeah.
compete in the same league as Michael Jackson was a different level. And if people didn't grow up in the 80s, the late 70s, 80s to mid 90s, they don't know what that is. I mean, it's like we said, it's like Elvis, it's like the Beatles, it's like Michael Jackson. I mean, there are just certain people who are in another stratosphere
yeah,
that some people will never, no matter how great you are. And Taylor Swift's super talented,
yeah.
and she is, but she's not Michael Jackson level anything.
The crazy thing is that tour he was getting ready to do when he died, that would have been the biggest tour that year by far. People would have been, it'd been selling out immediately. It would have sold out stadiums. It would have been huge. Like this was, what was that? He passed away.
16, 17 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, hang on. Yeah, he passed away in 2009. So that was,
Yeah, 17
you know
years.
what, 20 years past, 22 years past what we just talked about. And he would have still sold everything out, and people have been,
Yeah.
fighting for tickets. It's crazy. So, and it is sort of like a thing with Elvis. I feel as a kid, just knowing how much, that's what got me into music as a kid, was playing my mom's Elvis records. I got robbed by Elvis dying at such a young age and not getting to see him live. And, there's a lot of people that, Michael Jackson dying at a young age. You didn't get to see him grow old, but, I don't know. That just stuff, I think about that a lot when it comes to musicians
Did you see
and stuff.
the Elvis movie, the epic movie, the Elvis Presley in concert? Did you see that at the theaters?
No, but it's going to be a screening here at the house when it comes on the streaming.
Yeah,
for sure.
that was a great experience.
Yeah, I've heard really good
I
stuff
never got
about
to
that.
experience him, so you got to see the behind the scenes of that.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I think we don't see documentaries and movies try to do, is show you what it went into for those artists to be successful and how much work you have to put in. These guys just didn't wake up one day and be like, "Oh, hey, I'm the best artist in the world."
Well,
I mean, he worked so hard to get to there.
that's like when we started this podcast and when Jan and I started that Pixel Underground Facebook page just for our basement here for fun. And we've tried to build it up, and we worked so hard on this podcast and stuff like that. I used to have such a intense hatred for these influencers and all these social media people.
Right.
Until I've done this, and we're not trying to be like big social media. We're not trying to get filthy rich off this. But I've tried to build it up a little bit. We all have. But you can't, to do it as big, to be a social media influencer, to be big, you have to work nonstop. It is your life. You cannot enjoy anything because everything has to be content. And so to be like a big musician like that and to make it, I mean, there's a reason he died, because he was, he couldn't sleep. The dude, probably his mind was running 1,000 times a minute. I've had 3 surgeries in my life, and I've been under that propofol every time, and it is the best sleep you're ever going to get, people. I get why he did it. I would have maybe got a better doctor to do it. All the money he had, you couldn't have hired a guy that's better off at giving you that anesthesia, or maybe just once a week you have him put you under, But
Yeah.
it was some good sleep, so I see why he did it, but it's just sad, But to throw it out, Elvis, in our lifetime, who's the 2 biggest people you can think of that were stars? And to me, it's Elvis and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's the 2 top.
Yeah, there's not any sports star that's going to touch those 2 as I can think of, as like just the people that still decades after they die still can sell out stuff, and it's crazy. So,
Well, that's the thing too. Like Elvis, whenever they put out anything Elvis does, it goes number 1.
yeah,
The
still,
Beatles the same way.
Yeah.
They put out a Beatles, it's going to go number 1. So there's certain people out there that there's always going to have this aura about them. Like, this guy's a star whenever he walks into a room.
Yep.
And it's just amazing to see the level of stardom that these guys reach.
Hey, Jan, you as a girl growing up with Michael Jackson, and you know,
You're a girl.
well, I mean, that was what you experienced. I mean, you liked his music, right? I mean, but it was like
Yeah.
he wasn't like a I don't know how to explain it. Like it just.
Did you think he was hot?
Yeah, she did not think he was hot.
Oh, she didn't. She wasn't attracted to
She
him.
liked him when he went white with the weird nose, but
Oh
That's-
my
that's-
gosh.
but it's it's funny because
I saw him as being so very talented.
it's a talent that you can put these great songs out and you can be a Madonna where you can but you put all that stuff together where you're a total package like he was as far as dancing, singing. He wasn't really a good actor. He was all right in Thriller, but
He was very good in Thriller. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Although if you go back, there's a on YouTube. Let's make some fun of him a little bit. On YouTube, I listened to the Bonfire on Sirius, and they were playing it one day. They went back and found the backstage stuff when they're filming Thriller, and they're like, "You gotta." And John Landis is telling him like, you're in pain right now. You're being changed like that. We need you to scream. He's like, like, they had to definitely dub some stuff in on that.
Well, he definitely had a different scream.
Yeah, yeah. Before we wrap all this up here in a few minutes, I did reach out to some people involved with Michael Jackson over the years, and nobody got back to me but one. And we have a short snippet here. If somebody wants to speak, they spent a lot of time with Michael Jackson. So, Bubbles the Chimp, what do you have to say on Michael Jackson? Your time with him, Bubbles.
Hold on. Whoa.
Yeah, you can't use those words on a podcast. Not on this one anyway,
Good
Bubbles.
Lord.
I know.
Oh my God, Bubbles, what are you
Okay,
doing?
Bubbles, we appreciate you coming on here, but
This is a PG podcast.
thank you, and may God be with you. He hung up on us. You know who we should have? Well, okay, I will bring it up. You know who is keeping Michael Jackson's memory alive more than anyone now? It's nobody in his family. It's the Fell Dog,
Who?
Corey Feldman.
Oh God.
He's still bringing those dance moves out every night, and
Yes.
yeah, he's the Fell Dog is keeping the Michael Jackson spirit alive, and we
I think he has mental issues.
we thank you, Feldman. You're the man.
We still love you,
Oh,
Corey.
Corey.
Yeah.
Oh, Corey. The
But
wrong
anyway-
brother died.
What's that in?
It's in Dewey Cox.
Oh yeah.
The wrong brother died.
You mean the wrong Corey died?
Yeah, the wrong Corey died.
Yeah. So
I'm just gonna pretend you didn't say that.
yeah. So there's a NASCAR racer, Corey Haim. That's who we're talking. No, ain't there?
Corey Haim.
No, that's the other actor.
Yeah.
Corey LaJoy.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of. All right, we're rambling now. So anyway, we're gonna end this podcast now. We appreciate y'all listening, and Chris went out and saw the movie, and we'll probably do a movie review on this in a couple weeks after Jan and I see it, and maybe we'll get Paul back in for that one. I don't know when he'll get to see it right now, but Chris, you did say though, without giving anything away, you liked the movie, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I went in with the expectation that these people are not like the greatest actors in the world.
Yeah.
Like Jafar playing Michael. And he did fine and stuff, but it just brought back so many memories of the music, and it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's worth going to check out, and I think you need to see it in a theater with great sound system, because that sound of those songs playing through the Dolby at the theater I saw it in is amazing.
That's cool.
It's gonna bring back our youth.
Yep. So that does it on this one. You don't get much more of an icon from the 80s than Michael Jackson. So we're going to throw an icon episode every now and then. I'm sure, I can think of 4 or 5 that were big people in the 80s that are just the icons of the 80s that we could do these on. If you have any suggestions, send them to the Pixel People or the Pixel Underground page on Facebook, and we'll take it.
And maybe Greg will answer you.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, that'll do it. Anybody got anything to add?
Chris?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Shine on.
The Pixel People
Dadgummit, it did it again. David Hare, I'm sorry. I was going to read about your car this week. We'll do it next week. I'm so sorry. I'll make up for it. I'm sorry, Dave.
Thank you for coming to our podcast.